Hey, sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports Dudes here live this morning to talk about the college football Final Four. Number 10, Miami. Number 6, Ole Miss. Also, number 5, Oregon versus number 1, Indiana. We're going to get into some of that action today. Plus, we're going to talk a little bit about the portal and some of the things we would like to see the NCAA do when it comes to football. I got my man Post Game of the Post Game 86 podcast with me here this morning. How you feeling, Post Game?
Hey, I feel good, blessed and highly favored. How you doing, Rob? Just trying to get some coffee going, some nice hot coffee, so we can get this going.
Yeah, I'm doing well, man. Good to see you here this morning. We also got our man SEC Sean of the SEC Sean podcast. How you feeling this morning, SEC Sean?
We're doing good. I can tell you this: I didn't have those four teams on my bingo card for the Final Four.
Neither did I. And the great thing about, I guess, college football and what we're seeing right now is the four teams that are in right now were not the four teams that was there last year. And only two of those teams actually even made the college football playoffs. So I think as college football fans all across the country, liking various teams, different teams, we like the fact that there's a possibility that your team, if they got some money, if they understand the landscape of college football, can possibly be in the same position as these four teams. What's your thoughts on what y'all saw yesterday before we get into some of the questions that are in the chat?
Well, um, I think Indiana put all their questions to bed. Um, the whole talk has been: has Indiana been tested? Has Indiana played anybody? Has Indiana really been pushed? Well, granted, not to take anything away from Indiana, but Bama, this was not a vintage Bama team. I think we all can agree to that. But Indiana did what you're supposed to do, and they just beat the ever loving out of them. I can tell you this: there is a lot of Alabama people that wishing DeBoer would have taken that Michigan job. Um, I saw a bunch of stuff last night after the game and watching some podcasts and stuff that are SEC centric, and there's a lot of people that, first off, they don't understand why you went for it. Call timeout and then go for it and don't get the first down on your own 34 in a 3-0 game. That turned the whole tide of that game. Um, but Indiana did what they're supposed to do. Indiana looked really good yesterday. Don't get me wrong. Nothing away from them. Um, I think with the result last night of Ole Miss beating Georgia, um, I think the national championship game is going to wind up being Miami, and whoever comes out of that Indiana Oregon rematch. It's hard to go against Indiana, but I think Michigan. I think Miami's going to beat Ole Miss. That Miami defense is legit. So that's my take on yesterday's games.
Yeah, man. I mean, wow. I was impressed by Mississippi because coming into the playoffs, I wasn't sure how the team would take their coach leaving and if they would remain focused. And it seems like they playing their best ball. Trinidad Chambliss, to me, is the best quarterback left in the field. I think he proved it against a really good Georgia team last night. Uh, I agree with SEC Sean. A lot of questions that us football fans have for Indiana was answered last night. And again, not vintage Alabama, but still a good Alabama team. Nasty passing attack. Another point is this: two teams, and I just saw this as I was scrolling on my phone. Two teams, Texas Tech, Ohio State, spent $63 million combined in NIL, and both of them are at home. So I think it's heading towards the Indiana Miami national championship, and that's going to be a hell of a matchup.
Yeah, Miami being a team that was really on the bubble of even getting into the college football playoffs. They ended up getting the 10 spot. Only behind them was the two group of five teams on the bubble for most of the college football playoff rankings. They get in. They beat Texas A&M 10-3 in a really good defensive battle. The win might have had a lot to do with that game and what both of those teams were able to do offensively, which really helped the defenses, in my opinion. And then they go and they play an Ohio State team that many of us around the country felt like was probably the best team in the country, top to bottom, offense and defense, the whole total package, probably the most complete team. And they out physical that Ohio State team. To me, I'm thinking to myself, and every year when we watch sports, there's always some kind of team of destiny story out there. Is Miami that team of destiny, man? Are they going to be able to win this next game against Ole Miss and then go on to beat the eventual winner of Indiana and Oregon? I would like to see Miami do it since they were on the fence, but we got to, of course, wait and see how these games turn out. But I like what I see out of Miami, out of all of those teams. Chambliss is a dude, bro. What he was able to do to buy time against that Georgia defense, and the way they were able to still run the football, and the way their defense was able to step up, I really like what Ole Miss is doing with all the controversy, not controversy, but all the issues that they have with Lane Kiffin leaving. That's a good storyline. Of course, Indiana being a team who we would probably never have expected 3 or 4 years ago to ever even be in this position, and they're there. And can Dan Lanning and this Oregon team finally get over the hump of being able to win a national championship? They've been there before. They've been really close. Can they win it? So that's what my thoughts are about those teams. Let's get into some of these questions, though, and give me your thoughts on what we have here in the chat. The semifinal was set. Number 10, Miami versus number 6, Ole Miss. Number 5, Oregon versus number 1, Indiana. Who's your favorite to win the Natty?
Man, great question. Uh, man, I don't think any of us had this Final Four, but I would give the nod to Miami. I just don't know if Carson Beck is going to turn back into a pumpkin. You know what I mean? Like, is that Carson Beck that turned the ball over going make the appearance in this here Final Four? But outside of that, Miami looks really good. I When we talk about the team of destiny, I think that's IU. Like like who would have saw this coming? Like, I know they had a great year last year. A lot of the complaints were, oh, they didn't play anybody, and then they go up to South Bend and they get whooped. But then they come out, they go undefeated. They beat Ohio State in the conference championship game. To me, with the win this yesterday, the last game they played, I'm starting to think Indiana is the team of destiny. And if for my money, I'm not going against Kirk Signetti, man. I'm just not, man. That team is legit, man. So if I gotta pick a team out of that four, it's tough because I like Mississippi too. I had no clue Mississippi was gonna be playing like this. and Chambliss is on fire. So I wouldn't put it past them either. But if I gotta pick one team, I'm gonna go with the Hoosiers.
Yeah, it's valid. Um, that's a tough one. Indiana. I mean, they like I said, they've silenced all the doubters. Every seems like every week there's, well, is Indiana for real? And they just keep answering the bell. Um, I not because they beat my Aggies, but that Miami defense is nasty, man. That
Yeah.
is that is one of the nastiest defenses I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They get at everybody, and they got dudes all over the field. Now, Carson Beck is the wild card. Um, the difference with Beck is that defense is going to keep them in most games. So as long as he doesn't turn into the pumpkin, so to speak, as our buddy Post Game likes to call it, Miami's going to be a problem. Ole Miss, you know, I think Ole Miss is just kind of playing with house money. Like, hey, we got nothing to lose. We're not supposed to be here. Nobody expected us to be here. They expected us to struggle with Tulane in the first round. There's just numerous storylines. Obviously, the rematch. It is hard to beat a team twice. Ole Miss proved that last night. So we're going to see what Oregon and then brings. I think Indiana, to me, gives the edge. I think I saw somewhere that Oregon is opened as a 4-point favorite. I need to verify that because that just seems really odd to me. But um, I think that Miami defense pulls it. I think obviously Miami's the team to beat this year. Um, I think Miami's my vote right now to win the Natty is Miami.
A man Mossberg of Level Up Sports 10 said, remember I spoke about Oregon being that fifth seed, also Ole Miss with their backs against the wall. And he also said good morning to us as well. And he said he's getting ready, getting himself prepared for tomorrow. His aunt's funeral is tomorrow. So prayers out to you and the family, Mossberg. Give everybody one of those great big old hugs from everyone here at WTP Sports Dudes, SEC Sean's podcast, and Post Game 86 podcast, and all the other homies who aren't quite on the screen yet. For me, man, being an SEC guy, of course I want to see Ole Miss win this thing because I do not want to hear those Big Ten guys talking that trash about the Big Ten that won 3 straight and the SEC ain't jack dilly squat. I don't want them to have that opportunity to say that. With that being said, I still believe Indiana is the team that will probably win this national championship, man. They are so freaking disciplined. They are so freaking efficient. They're going to be tough to beat. If anybody out there can beat them, I think this Oregon team is going to give them a really good contest when they play. But I think Miami is the team that can really get them some trouble because, like my man SEC Sean said, they play some really, really good defense, man. And they got those 2 bookends that can be game wreckers, that can get pass rush organically and give Mendoza some issues. But it's hard to go against Indiana, man, and how you see them playing and the fact that they've been able to do what they've been able to do, already beating Oregon earlier in the season, winning games down the stretch, and also beating a really good Ohio State team in the Big Ten championship. So since we're picking one, I'm gonna pick Indiana, even though I want an SEC team to win it, because I don't want to hear them Big Ten dudes' mouths. But let's
Yeah.
go on to the next question. Oh, you got something, Post?
Yeah. I can truly say that for me, I think all 4 of these teams have a really good shot at winning everything. Uh, I know that there's been a lot of talk about Ruben Baines and his arm length. and how that would affect his draft stock, cut it out. People just gotta cut it out. That dude is a baller. He's a freak of nature. He's a force. You gonna pass up on that guy because of the length of his arms, and go for it. And you'll probably be looking for a job the next season. They said the same thing about the tackle from LSU last year that went to New England. I forget his name, but he went there and he changed that offense for New England. So how's his arm length working out for the Patriots? So I think Ruben Bain, man, they Rob, you talk about your Titans needing defensive help. That would be a hell of a pick for them in the first round.
Look, couple quick things here. First off, Moss, prayers out for your aunt. Sorry to hear about that, brother. We're all here for you and anything you need, just like y'all were for me when my dad. So we're here. Secondly, follow up on post game with people talking about Ruben Bain and his arm length. Let me take it back a little bit. What's the most feared dinosaur?
Yeah, the T-Rex.
All right. What's his problem? He got little arms. But I ain't getting in front of a T-Rex coming at me. I'm going to tell you that much.
That's right.
So, you right, Post. I mean, push him down the list at your own peril, because I don't care what his arm length says. That dude's a monster. I've seen it first up, man. That dude is a monster. So, that's it on those. But as far as your Big Ten, you don't want them to win it. I said this last night on a couple of the podcasts I was talking to. Right now, the Big Ten is better than the SEC. There's no lie. The SEC, I'm still an SEC guy. Love my SEC football. Still think we're right there with the Big Ten as the two best conferences. But the SEC has lost its identity with this skill position. We need skill. We need skill. We need skill. We need running backs. We need receivers. We need quarterbacks. While granted, you need that. If you ain't got them big uglies down there in the trenches, it ain't going to matter what you got on the outside. Mm-hmm. We've proven that. Look at the teams that are left. Does Indiana can run the ball. Ole Miss can run the ball. Miami can run the ball. Oregon can run the ball. They can all dominate you on the defensive line. The SEC's gotten too pretty. They get back to that big, ugly, run the ball down your throat, trenches, and it'll even back out. But for right now, yeah, the Big Ten has a little bitty step up on the SEC. There's not an argument for me at all about that.
Yeah, Donnell is saying he got the Canes versus Oregon, and Oregon for the win. And he said prayers out to the family, Mossberg. Yeah, I would like to see that matchup as well, Don B. I would definitely like to see that matchup. Let's go to our next question that we got in the chat. It says, is there a team more battle tested, or are they all tested this following season and during this college football playoff?
Man, I think at this point, all of them are battle tested, making it this far. Any doubts you had about any of these four teams? I would say IU is the most, knocking off Ohio State and beating Alabama. Miami's had a nice road, getting the win against Notre Dame and rebounding like they did once they got into the players' ball. At this point, I gotta say all these teams are well tested and deserving. And again, I think any four, anywhere you cut it, slice it, or dice it, we're gonna have a hell of a national championship game. Whoever comes out of wherever, whether it's Miami, Oregon, Indiana, or Mississippi, I think we're in for a great national championship game. But as far as battle tested, I think all four of these teams are battle tested and ready to go.
Yeah, at this point of the season, I think when the playoffs started, that was the big question: is Indiana battle tested? look at their schedule and all this, and fine, that's great to say going into it, but you know, um, they they demolished one of the top three winning programs in the history of college football. You know, um, they've played Oregon on the road and beat them. Yeah, they struggled with Penn State but beat them. But playing in Penn State's rough. I mean, so you know, everybody's battle tested at this point. I think there may be teams that are more battle tested. Like I would say Miami might be more with traveling to Kyle Field and then taking on Ohio State. But they're all battle tested at this point. It's the last four teams standing. They're all ready to roll in battle.
Yeah, I agree with you both that they've all been pretty well battle tested. But I do like that comment you just made about Miami. In their last two games was probably the biggest out of all of them in the last two games that each of them have played. Um, with them playing against going to Cal Field to play a really good Texas A&M team, and then playing Ohio State this past few days ago. Uh, but I think they're all battle tested. I think they're all ready for whatever the challenge that they're going to face in this next game, and the winners when they make it to the national championship game. But I agree, they all been battle tested. Which quarterback is the scariest out of these four quarterbacks?
Man, listen. I got hit with a Cupid's arrow last night watching Chambliss, fellas. That kid right there against Georgia. I know Mendoza is the Heisman winner and deservingly so, but man, I just think Chambliss, man, what I saw from him last night, the plays he was able to make, you know, that team going through what they're going through with their head coach, man, I, man, it was beautiful football. I got to go with Chambliss on this, fellas.
Oh, tough, tough, tough. You know, Beck has some experience. Chambliss, call it what you want. I mean, he's a national champion quarterback. Yeah, it was Division II, but he's still a national championship quarterback. And he moves around. He's, athletic enough to get out and make things happen. I think Chambliss is probably the best. I don't know. Dante Moore's really good too, but I like Chambliss's composure, I think, from where he came from and what he's doing. But I mean, if you have to rank the quarterbacks in my mind, I'm probably going Chambliss, Mendoza, Moore, Beck. As far as just quarterback play, talking about nothing else, that's probably where I'm going with mine.
Yeah, that's about where I see it. You know, just real quick go right.
All right, post game dropped off. We'll get his comment once he comes back on. For me, out of these four quarterbacks, man, the thing about all four of them is the fact that if it's a opportunity for them to get a first down with their legs, each and every one of them can make that happen. They can make that first down with their legs, which makes all of them dangerous on those 3rd and 3s, those 3rd and 5s, those 3rd and 6s. Um, so with all of them being able to use their legs, they make it really difficult on the defense because they can extend drives with their legs. But what I seen out of Chambliss yesterday, man, against that Georgia defense, his composure, his ability to still keep his head up, looking downfield to be able to make some throws. I want to lean towards him, but I really like Dante Moore, and I really like what Mendoza has been able to do down the stretch. It's kind of hard to pick one, so I'm going to be a bias and go with an SEC guy in Chambliss and what I seen him do yesterday. But like SEC Sean said, you could go Chambliss, You can go Mendoza, Moore, and then to Beck. I think Beck for sure is probably the least other four. I'm gonna go with Chambliss just because of what I seen him do yesterday in that game against Georgia.
My fault, fellas. Yeah, I was just saying. I think if we talking upside, I think Dante Moore has the highest upside out of all these quarterbacks.
Yeah,
If we talking consistency, I'll give it to Mendoza. But right now, if you just told me right now you need a quarterback, I'm going Chambliss. Man, anybody watching this, if you saw the throws that kid made, man, on a run, off scripted, you can't teach that. You just can't. That's just something. There's things in football players you can teach, and then there's things that you can't teach. I think Chambliss has that. I think by far Beck is the worst. Not saying that he's a bad quarterback, but out of the four, I think he would rank fourth right now. But man, Chambliss, I'm telling you, that kid is special.
yeah. On a different topic, real quick, my man Parker Livingston jumped in the portal yesterday, right? And so, well, he's going into the portal today, I guess, or whenever he's going to make that move. But he's expected to end up at Indiana, which I think it might be North Texas quarterback or some quarterback from one of the schools in Texas is going to end up at Indiana as well, and their families are really close. So they're saying that that's where Parker Livingston is going to end up. SEC Shaw,
See, I don't see that. I see Levitt winding up at Indiana.
really,
Yep.
that
Yep.
would be a
I
good
see
move.
Levitt winding up at Indiana. Um, I don't know. There was some speculation. I was curious. I was asking Doug last night because that was posted by Orange Bloods. So it's pretty reliable that he's going to enter the portal.
Yeah,
But, that's Arch's roommate.
yeah,
So everybody was like, okay, well, does he know Arch is going to enter the portal? So, this portal thing's going to be crazy. It just opened 10 hours ago. Um, Not really much movement. Probably won't see much movement till later in the day, over the weekend. But yeah, seeing him go into the portal was kind of weird. Like I said, like I told you last night, that was their most reliable receiver.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, they're really going after that the kid Cam from Auburn, and then like we got those 5-star wide receivers that were on the bench. So I think he just got recruited over. But I
You
mean,
also,
good luck to him wherever he ends up going. I think he's going to be a hell of a wide receiver wherever he ends up.
That's the main thing I want to get out in this whole portal thing real quick. I'm going to go on a tangent for just a quick second, guys. If a player leaves your program, don't wish bad luck on that kid. He's trying to do what's best for him.
Yeah,
But these fans, I'm sick and tired of my A&M fans ripping everybody. Oh, get in the portal. We don't want you anyway. Well, you were rooting for him earlier in the year.
right,
Get up. Let these kids do what they feel is best for them.
right.
Dang. So I'm sorry. That's just I hate seeing that stuff, man. These are 18 to 21-year-old kids. Some of them barely 18. Get off of it, man. Um, I've seen people screaming that Marcel Reed needs to transfer. Whoever they need to get the hell out of A&M, whoever that is, get the hell out of here.
yeah,
Hell is y'all's
some of these,
problem.
yeah, I agree, man. Some of these fans are just immature. It's immaturity that gets me, because if something happened to these kids, these fans aren't going to give a damn about it. So let them make their decision that best fits them.
I mean, we got the kid Bryce Anderson. He's the one who hurt his neck against y'all post game against Notre Dame.
Yeah,
He was out all year. He entered the transfer portal. People are telling him, bye, get out of here. You weren't any good anyway. Bro, he had almost a broken damn neck.
Yeah,
He's not going to play next year probably because of the guys they've got behind him that are going to be upper and probably take. So he's going to go find a place to play.
yeah,
right, right.
You
Yeah,
know,
you probably won't see much movement in the portal. A lot of these kids that have entered the portal are setting up visits for schools.
oh
So
yeah,
you probably won't see as far as commitments, you probably won't see nothing anytime soon, like today, probably going into the weekend to next week. But
right.
some of these kids are setting visits up.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Like you're talking about going after Cam Coleman. I already told you, y'all gonna have to outbid A&M for him.
No, we Cam Cole as far as Notre Dame.
No, 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 Texas.
Oh yeah. Cam Coleman is definitely not a Notre Dame kid, but
No, he's not.
he'll definitely be probably the most sought out after wide receiver in the portal.
Oh yeah, yeah. I actually not sure I want Cam Coleman at A&M. I'd prefer if he enters the portal to go get that Dallas Wilson kid out of Florida. Cam Coleman, you're going to have him for 1 year, and he's going to command at least $2 million. Dallas Wilson, you're going to have him for at least 2 to 3 years, and he's not going to be a $2 million a year player.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. But we'll get into some more
Yeah, oh,
portal
yeah.
stuff later on down the line. How important is the run game going to be? And whose run game do you give the edge to?
Uh, the run game is the money play. I mean, we all know it. The run game sets up everything, and if you can consistently run the ball, you can really destroy a team's will. Um, out of the four teams, jeez, man, I really like Oregon's run game. I think they're a power run team up to this point. Yeah, we know Dante Moore is special and that he can make plays, but that team has really dedicated itself to the running game. So if I gotta pick one running game out of these four teams, I'm gonna go with Oregon, fellas.
Yeah, Oregon would be a good one. I I like that Miami running attack, that three-headed monster. I mean, um, I don't know that they're the best rushing attack, but I think they do the best for their offense out of the rushing teams. I think that rushing attack helps everything else a lot more for Miami than it does for an Oregon. But good Lord, I watched Indiana ran all over Alabama last night. They ran. I feel like I could have averaged 4 yards a carry against on that team like yesterday. That probably would have been one carry for 4 yards. But um, I like Indiana's running attack. They do enough with Mendoza on those 3rd and 3, anything 3rd and 5. He's got enough wiggle to get you a first down. So I like Indiana's running attack the best, but it is the most important thing, especially for anybody playing Miami. You have to be able to run the ball to control that pass rush.
Yeah, I think the run game is going to really be key for all of these teams in this. And all four of these teams are teams that want to run the football. They're not going to abandon the run for anyone. So they're going to run the football. I agree with you, though, SEC Sean. I think that the different ways that Indiana has been able to run the football might be the better of the four. I really do like Lacey for Ole Miss. I'm not real familiar with Oregon's running back, but I know they got a good running attack. I've seen them a couple of times. I just don't remember the young man's name or the two guys that they put back there. But I'm really impressed with Indiana and what they can do with their run game. I like Fletcher too for Miami. So, but I'm gonna go with Miami because Indiana because I think that they have a lot of different ways that they can really come at you, and their line is really, really physical, man. So I'm gonna go with Indiana in when it comes to the run game.
Now that y'all mention it, you know what? I gotta say this. I think Miami if we talking running attacks, then we got to include that offensive line. And I think Miami has the best offensive line left
I
in the
do
college
too.
football playoffs. But as far as depth, you can go with Miami or Oregon because Oregon they got a stable of running backs also. But if we include offensive line play, then I like Miami's rushing attack just as good as anybody's.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned their offensive line. Their offensive line, man, is some monsters, bro. They are some monsters. Can you see the defenses being the key in this semifinal games? Whose D stands out the most?
Miami. This isn't even a
I
topic for
mean,
discussion.
I I think Mississippi's defense, their defensive line in particular, they stood out last night. And I don't know if it was because of the size of Georgia's quarterback, which I think for a program like Georgia, I think their quarterback is solid, but I think you would expect like a better, a little bit better quarterback coming from Georgia. But if we just talking about defensive lines, Mississippi impressed me last night because they kept doing something that's really underrated when it comes to college football. Football in general is that they were able to bat the ball down multiple times. Like that is so like if your defensive line can bat the ball down, that's such a big play that I don't think anybody talks about enough. But if we talking defensive lines, I mean, obviously, man, Miami. Wow. I think Mississippi's defensive line is underrated as far as these four teams. But we talking defensive ball, man. How can you not love what Miami is doing? How they made Ohio State look and how they were getting after saying, man, man, I can't talk about that enough. You talk about Julian saying and those receivers with Tate and Smith. And I know they got off a little bit in the second half, but man, the pressure they put on saying to make it Ohio State's offensive line look average, man, it's Miami for me.
Yeah, I'm right there. I think Ole Miss, I mean, has a good D line. I think Indiana has a good D line. I think Oregon has got a decent, but I think as far as total three levels of the defense, I think Miami's got the top three levels. I think Miami's got some of the best cornerbacks out there too, to go along with those, you know, man eaters up front. And I know the DNs get all the love at Miami, but let's put it this way. Post was talking about saying and stuff. They can take on any type of quarterback. Saying is more of your prototypical pocket, going to stand in there and sling it. But even against A&M, when Marcel Reed would get out of the pocket, they were tracking him down. And Marcel Reed ain't slow. So, you know, they know how to maintain leverage in their rush lanes to keep their gap integrity. I think it's Miami's defense. I'll rate, I'll go Miami, Indiana, Mississippi, Oregon as far as my defenses go. And Mississippi, Oregon could be flip flopped.
Yeah, I agree with you on the clean sweep. We got Miami, I think, is the best defense. Whenever you got those two bookends like you have, you can get organic pressure on the quarterbacks where you don't have to send as many blitzes, even though Miami does blitz quite a bit too. I think the fact that you got those two guys who can hold up their end of the deal, um, you really have to go into a 12 personnel if you really want to make things happen against Miami, especially in the run game, because that way you can probably get at Mesidor. Running at Bain is not a good idea. So I think that Miami has the best defense out of these four. But I think my Indiana is very, very close. They are able to do some things scheme wise that they're able to get pressure on the quarterback. They're able to get in gaps on the run game and get tackles for loss. Whatever their scheme is, and we don't feel like they got the most dynamic players in the country, but whatever they do scheme wise, the players that they got, they do it really, really well. I think that those two defenses are probably the best two out of the four, but I don't think there's some great distance between all four of them, though. I think they're all pretty close. I just think that Miami and Indiana probably had the best two. Miami because of the talent they have, and then Indiana because of the scheme that they do, and those guys doing it really, really well. So the portal is open, y'all. Who's the biggest name in the portal or might end up going in the portal, in your opinion?
It's Cam Coleman.
Yep.
Say it again.
Cam Coleman.
Okay, I'm Coleman.
In fact, the top two in the portal are both Colemans. Cam and Chaz, the DN from Penn State.
Facts.
Not related.
Not related. I was going to go with Cam Coleman also. I think On3 has him ranked as the number one player in the portal. On3 is pretty reliable if you ask me. But, I mean, Cam Coleman is going to be a get for whoever gets him. I think T.Y. was speaking on the Coleman, the defensive end from Penn State yesterday, saying how he really wants him to join Ohio State. So, I mean, we can say who we can, give our opinion on who's the biggest one, but I mean, it's really going to be about, putting that cherry on top for your team and what your team needs are. If you need a D tackle, if you need a tight end, but the number one player, it has to be Coleman for me.
Yeah, Cam. I think Coleman is asking for $2 million. He asked for $2 million, and he's going to be a one and done guy. You're going to get him for 1 year. Is he? I mean, I know he's a bigger receiver, possession guy, can possibly stretch the field a little bit, crazy catch radius, but is he a real threat run after the catch? Is he a guy who can catch the ball in space and get you some yak yardage based on his abilities? Now, of course, he can run through some guys because of his size. But I wonder about who wants to spend $2 million on him, and how do you free up that kind of money in order to get him? Is going to be interesting to me. I like to see who's going to end up getting him, and are they going to pay that $2 million price tag, or probably even more? I mean, might end up becoming a bidding war. We'll have to wait and see on that. I would probably lean more towards some of the quarterbacks that are in the field, because I feel like it all starts with them. Whenever you're going to build a program, you got to have you a solid quarterback. And you got the likes of Sam Levitt out there. You got the guy from North Texas and quite a few others that are out there. And I wouldn't be surprised if another name or two goes in there just based on coaches moving to other teams. Maybe they might lose a guy that they got that's really good at their program, like a Bryce Young, like a Bryce Underwood, or maybe Chambliss might end up leaving Ole Miss to go to LSU. We just have to wait and see that thing out. But I would lean more towards a quarterback, even though I know that Cam Coleman is the number one rated guy in the portal right now. I think that those quarterbacks might be a little bit more important than Cam Coleman.
Yeah, and how about this, fellas? Did y'all see how friendly Jeremiah Smith was with the U after that loss? Think about it. And I know the Ohio State guys on this podcast aren't going to like this, but he almost went to Miami. Ohio State is losing Hartline. how big of a relationship did Smith and Hartline have? Does that factor into his decision? Can Miami offer him a little bit more money? I know Ohio State has a lot of money, but maybe it's not about the money. Maybe he has a better relationship with the players down there, and Miami's gonna get a dude at quarterback in the portal. So I don't know, man. That would worry me a little bit if I was an Ohio State fan.
Yeah, that was a little odd to not. I mean, I get going over, hey, good game, whatever, blah blah blah. But man, there was just something different about the way he was acting with the Miami dudes. It was
Yeah,
it was just different. You know, talking about is he worth 2 million for Cam Coleman? Um, I'm gonna be really mad if my Aggies pay 2 million for Cam Coleman.
Me
A
too.
A yes, super talented kid, very underachieving so far. Now he was at Auburn, who never didn't have a quarterback either,
Mhm.
but didn't really see much. Um, just on looking up rankings for players on ESPN, they've got Sorsby as the number one player from Cincinnati, quarterback.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And then Sam Levitt's third, Cam Coleman second. The defensive tackle from Wake Forest, I'm not even going to attempt his name, is four. Running back from Louisville kind of shocked me was fifth, Isaac Brown.
yeah,
Texas going after him.
Texas needs to. They ain't got no running backs.
Yeah, they're going after him.
yeah.
Um,
Real quick, Notre Dame, that defensive tackle from Wake Forest,
yeah,
he's a top Notre Dame's list.
that seems like a Notre Dame kind of thing. Not going to lie. Um, I'm telling you, I like. Um, I would rather A&M go get some D line help. I like the kid from Florida, Jaden Woods. He's a freshman. I like him a lot. I'd like him if they're going to spend $2 million on one player. I want the Aggies to spend $2 million on Chaz Coleman from Penn State. Replace Cassius Howell with him. You have him for 3 years. Go get me him and go get me the Woods kid from Florida. You're going to have bookends that Miami had because they're both freshmen. Um,
Yeah,
you know, players have to, coaches and I guess general managers, every coach, every team has one, have to be smart with this. You Miami knew they had a pretty good roster last year, so they could throw 4 million at Carson Beck because they knew they had pieces already in place. If you need more than one thing, then $2 million on one player is not smart.
That's smart.
I mean, so that's just where I'm at with it. Is you're gonna have to take a pay cut if you're a Cam Coleman. I think there's some school that's gonna throw 2 million at him. I just don't know who. Um, I'm gonna be really mad if my Aggies throw 2 million at him. I'm gonna be really mad.
yeah,
I agree with you. I think that's too much, and I hope that Texas does not go that route either. Even though I know they're very very interested in him, they're also interested in the Woods kid from Florida too. By the way, SEC Sean. So and Florida's doing everything they can to try to keep all of those guys that they have on their roster. Right now, they're trying to keep the Dallas kid and a couple of other of those pieces on that offense to try to make it enticing for Ball to stay. Um, and right now, that's what they're working on doing at the University of Florida. Let's go to our next question. Since NIL is becoming such a huge part of how teams are constructed, can you see teams going to a 65-man roster being more like the NFL?
I mean, it seems like college teams are trending more towards the NFL structure, having GMs and all, and having to navigate through spending. But 65 for a college team, I highly doubt it.
I don't. I don't think it's going to get down to 65. Um, I just think there's too many things that go along with that. Um, this is where you've got to learn to. This is the whole budget we were just talking about. If you're going to have 65 players, okay, I'll pay Cam Coleman 2 million. But if I need more depth, and in the SEC, the Big Ten, those kind of, the known two power conferences, the out of the four, even the big, all of them, you got to have depth on the lines and linebackers, and you're going to have injuries. So you have to be smart with, how you divide all this money up to still keep people happy. That's what we've turned college football into. It's the AAA of NFL is what it is, just like AAA baseball for MLB. That's what it is. And you have to be able to disperse that money. And the more money you're willing to disperse, obviously spread out more, you'll have more people to choose from. So I don't think it'll go. I don't think any team's going to go to 105. That seems just massive. But unless you're going to fill those last 20 spots with kids who just genuinely want to be at school there and aren't worried about NIL. So,
I mean, depth, that's a huge part of being a winning team. You got to have depth on your roster, as SEC Sean just said. But that's why it's important to still be a school who majors in high school recruitment and minors in the portal. Some of these teams are majoring in the portal and minoring in high school recruitment. So 65 seems a bit low for college football to me, especially when you think about teams that want to compete. You got to have depth at these positions. 65 is a little low for me.
Yeah, I think 65 is a little low as well. Um, to be able to cover the kind of depth that you're going to need. But a lot of teams in these bowl games, that's how many players they took. So they was functioning from that kind of a model, where you taking only 65 players. And I really do think that college football is leaning more towards being in a line or as closely aligned with the NFL as possible. And I think eventually they're going to get to that point. Will they go as low as 65? Probably not. I think that I could definitely see them falling in between 85 and 65, though. I could definitely see that.
we were talking about Coleman and 2 million for that kid. I'd rather pay Nick Marsh from Michigan State 1 million. And I forget the kid's name, so don't hold it against me, any Kansas State fans that are on here. But that receiver from Kansas State, give him 500,000. I'll take those two, and I'll get as much production as you're going to get out of Cam Coleman for 2 million.
Yeah, for sure. The Marsh kid, he's
Yeah,
one or two on Notre Dame's board. A lot of the talk that's been going around the internet is that it's coming down between Notre Dame and LSU.
yep,
So we'll see what that Nick Marsh is a get. That's for sure.
yeah.
We want to thank our man Mossberg of Level Up Sports 10 for the $10 super chat. Those of you out there in the audience, you can always get your question pushed to the front of the line by, of course, giving us a super chat. He said, like and subscribe, like these videos, like this video as well. Let's go live. Let's go like for everyone watching. Everybody hit that like button. Thanks, Mossberg of Level Up Sports 10 for that $10 super chat. We really appreciate you, bro. Thank you so very, very much. Did you say cha-ching?
Cha-ching.
Yeah, he did.
Right along those lines of that question that we just asked, teams can have up to 105 scholarship players, up from 85. Would you want to see that many players to split the portion? Is it 2020? Is it 22.8 or is it only 20.8 million that the programs are being, the universities are being given, even though only a portion of that is going to football?
Right, that's the thing. I think it's 22.8 million.
22.8.
But it's up to the university how they disperse it. But every athletic program has to get something.
Yeah.
No offense to tennis teams, they're not gonna get a few million. I'm not trying to be mean to people that play tennis. It's just the nature of this beast. Football, basketball, baseball are probably gonna get the majority of the money, and football's gonna get the biggest. If it's 22.8, football's probably getting 15 of it.
Yeah, and that's my bad. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You good, Poster? Jump in.
Man, this is why, because there's different arms to NIL. You know, is it the pay for play portion? Is it the business deals with brands? This is why I said, leading into the season, are we sure that teams aren't, even with NIL, are we sure that teams aren't still paying players under the table? Think about it. Yeah, this is how much money we're supposed to give out, but we really need you on this team. So here's another million for you to come play for us. I can see it, fellas.
I don't. Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
No, I'm just saying, man, like I can see that happening. Like, okay, this is how much money we got on the books. But if you be quiet, we'll be quiet. Come here. Here's that 3 million. Here's that 2 million you were looking for. I can see it happening.
Well, I think it's possible. I don't see it, and I'll just go argumentative against it, just so we have another side of it. I could see what you're saying, but I think in this era where everybody knows they're getting paid, what's the point in hiding it? So, my thinking is when NIL started, it was supposed to be name, image, and likeness. Where
Right.
I'm going to go back to Quinn Ewers when he came to Ohio State for 1 year and got a big sponsorship from that or car company up here and got a brand new vehicle and all that stuff. That's what NIL was supposed to be to me. And you could sell Quinn Ewers jerseys at Ohio State and he would get a portion of the jersey sales, and he could do sponsorships for Raising Canes or whatever and get money for it. Whereas years ago he couldn't. Now it's turned into, oh, well, I'm going to give you $2 million, and then Bucky's a big, sponsor of A&M, of course. He's going to let you be in a couple of commercials and give you two to 3 million for doing 4 commercials for him. I mean, Sonic was paying the restaurant was paying guys from A&M Texas to be in their commercials. So I don't know that they're necessarily paying them under the table. I could see it. Don't get me wrong. Especially when they put this cap in place.
Yeah.
But I think it's more we're paying them. So here, I mean, how do we, I think it's just wide open as to, yeah, I made 3 million for Carson Beck. I made 4 million to go to Miami. I mean,
It for me, it's like this. Let's take Cam Coleman, for example. Let's say Ohio State and Texas Tech both won. They both are agreeing to give him 2 million plus NIL. What's the difference? Okay, if you commit to us, we'll give you that 2 million you're looking for. But we also got another 2 million that you can't tell anybody about. What's the
Yeah.
difference that separates when these players are looking for money and two teams that they want to go to are offering them the max they can offer them? Who's to say that one of these teams aren't saying, "Hey, listen, we're capped at this number, but some of our guys, some of the alumni, whatever you want to call them, are offering you another 2 million on top of that we can't say anything about for you to come play for us." That's that's
Yeah.
that's what gets me. Like, I'm not saying it's going on, but I think there's a possibility of that happening. These colleges got money, y'all, and the
Oh yeah.
alumni and the boosters. And I can see it happen.
Easy. Yeah, you can see it happening for sure, 100%. I don't know. I mean, like I said, you can make an argument for both sides of it, but I would think in this day and age, we're just going to be like, look, it's open. Here we go. This ain't like, 30, 40 years ago when, Eric Dickerson was getting Camaros from Texas A&M University, but it was given to his mom. But A&M never did it. They said, it just mysteriously showed up at his driveway with 12th man license plates on it. So, yeah, I mean, and then, of course, SMU got him with the right amount of money. And then, of course, you had, go watch the docu series on ESPN, the Pony Excess, and you'll learn all you want about how it used to recruit in the Southwestern Conference.
Yeah, before I get my spill on it, shout out to Buc-ee's, man. I cannot, for some reason, I cannot go over the highway and see a Buc-ee's and not plan on stopping at Buc-ee's, bro. Buc-ee's get all my gas money when I'm traveling. And if I got to get some snacks, Buc-ee's is the man. So, Buc-ee's, if you're watching this or somebody affiliated with Buc-ee's watching this, we don't mind you being a sponsor of our shows. Trust me, because Buc-ee's is getting all of my gas money when I travel over the road. If I buy some snacks, Buc-ee's, you're getting my money. So give us a little something back.
Shout out to Beaver Applin. That's the owner of Buc-ee's, by the way.
Yeah.
You better shout out his wife, because without her, Buc-ee's doesn't exist.
But Buc-ee's does not exist. That is right and correct. Yeah.
So she had to have clean bathrooms.
Yeah. Post game, if you ain't never been to Buc-ee's, bro, you got to experience the Buc-ee experience. That's for sure.
Yeah, go ahead and drop us an endorsement deal, Buc-ee's.
Right.
Yeah,
they got great coffee too, Mossberg. By the way, great coffee.
Yeah. My thing is, man, if it was happening before this whole NIL was happening, what makes anybody think it's going to stop? Now it's all covered up. Now you can do it, and it looks like you didn't even do it because NIL is in effect. I'm definitely, probably 1,000% sure that some of them under the table deals are still taking place. Because why would it stop? Now you got a chance to cover it up. So I'm quite sure it's happening, man. And to each his own. If that's what you was doing before, if that's what you want to do now, go have it. Go ahead, go at it. It's all right with me. Nick Saban made a really good point the other day. He says that college football calendar needs to be fixed. Do you like his May portal window idea to match the NFL timetable? I don't know if y'all got a chance to watch that video or not of him talking about the college football calendar and how things are right now and how it's a mess right now that you have schools that coaches have left and they're trying to probably recruit players from the school they left and all that good stuff now that the portal window is open.
Yeah, I would say Nick Saban is extremely intelligent when it comes to college football, seeing as how he, all the coaching experience he has, all the championships he has. He understands the game. I think the majority of coaches in college football would agree with the May portal. It gives them more time to manage their rosters, check out the landscape, the pool of players. And again, like you just said, there's a lot of players or a lot of coaches, not a lot, but there's still coaches at big programs that are still playing right now. And you mean to tell me they got to deal with planning for competing for a national title and trying to get players for their roster? So, I mean, and there's guys still on the window or on the line of whether they want to stay or not. I think of May portal because a lot of teams by May, yeah, by May have had their spring game. So, I mean, injury here, injury there. A guy who's been loyal to the program is looking like I'm not going to be a starter for my fourth or fifth year. Yeah, I think it makes a little more sense than a January portal, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't like the January portal. I don't like the May portal either. I think May's too late. I think it needs to be end of February, 1st of March. Let's get through both signing periods, the early and the late signing period. Gives coaches a better idea of exactly who's committed to their team. Because as we all know, I can say I'm committed to your team, but on the last day, I can change my mind. And you may be thinking I'm coming all along, and then all of a sudden I'm not. Now you got a need in that position. So to me, make it around March, sometime first part of March. Let these coaches, get done with all the playoff stuff, because that ends, end of January, mid-January, the 19th this year. Give the coaches time to kind of reset, do some recruiting for high school kids after the signing day. Give it a week or two after that, and then open the portal for 2 weeks, and then you're done. One portal, that's it. I like
Yeah,
one portal. I don't like the two portals we used to have. I like one portal.
yep. One portal. I agree with you. I would just say after the spring games. It gives guys really the opportunity to see where they are on the depth chart. If they don't like their role on the team, if they like their role on the team, it gives them a chance to weigh their decisions better. So I would agree with SEC Shy. I would just say after the spring games.
Yeah, I really like the idea of it being in May and also having your spring practices in May as well. And then, you have your spring game at the end of May or maybe early June. And then you can go into summer workouts and then into fall ball, which is very similar to how the NFL timetable is with their players reporting for OTAs or whatever it's called when they bring in their rookie players and then they bring in the veterans and then they do their thing all summer, working out and all that good stuff. I would really like to see them go to this model. I don't know how much it would affect high school recruiting though. Are they saying that they will no longer have an early reporting period for high school players if they go to this format? Is he just talking about the portal? Because if you're talking about the college football calendar, you got to put in that the fact that they got an early signing period for high school students. So I didn't get to hear him elaborate on that aspect of it, but I definitely would like to see the portal in May as opposed to uh, definitely January. And when it was in December and then right after the spring game, I would like to see it in May. Then school was over with, and then you could find the school you want to go to, and then you can start summer school and then be ready for the fall as well. So I like his idea on that. The last question that we got in the chat, and we're right at 1 hour and 10 minutes, right where we like to be in our videos. Um, Do college football commissioners hold the keys to fix college football's NIL and transfer portal issues? And we might also be able to add the college football playoff as well. What's your thoughts on that question?
Well, they hold the keys. It's just a matter of what are they going to do with them. Getting all those commissioners of those 4 Power 4 conferences to agree on anything, good Lord. I mean, I'm not even sure they agree on what day Christmas is. Those guys, geez, man. And the 2 knuckleheads at the top are Greg Sankey and the Big Ten's commissioner, and I forget his name. Well, Greg Sankey's one of the biggest. I mean, I love what he's done for the SEC as far as marketing, but God, he's stubborn. So to me, yeah, they hold the keys to fix it, but I mean, do they want to is the question. Can they agree on a way to? And as far as the playoff goes, I think there will be changes to the playoff. The problem is it's not just the commissioners that have the keys for it. You also have to appease all the media rights. And if ESPN or whoever else wants it says, oh, I don't like that, then it's not going to happen. So, I don't know. To me, they have the keys. It's just I don't think they know which one opens what door yet.
Yeah, I agree 100%. They would have had this figured out if they were doing what they're supposed to be doing. They got the keys. They don't know what to do with it. I think, and I just think that unionization is coming to college football. And I think because these guys weren't smart enough to get together and figure it out on their own, I think that's when you'll see a lot of big changes in college football. Listen, there needs to be some type of committee amongst the coaches, former coaches, maybe the GMs. They got to figure this thing out because every single year we're talking about this needs to be changed. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. How about we use this date? How about we push the schedule back? They just need to get together and figure this thing out. Because I believe with all the money and NIL in college football, the transfer portal, unionization is coming to college football.
Yeah, I agree. I think they definitely hold the key. The issue that I have with them is sort of like what both of you are saying. If I'm the commissioner of the SEC, I should still be looking out for what's best for college football or college athletics, not just the SEC. If I'm the Big Ten commissioner, I should be doing the same. What's the best for college athletics, not just the Big Ten, not just the ACC, not just the Big 12 or any other of the group of 5 schools. What's best for college athletics? And we should be able to get together and find out what's the best for them. With a combination of you got your presidents, you got your coaches out there that are current coaches, you got former coaches, you got former players, you got current players. You should have what they call it in the NFL and the NBA. They got their player association guy or whatever it is. You should have all of those things in place because the reality is now that college football is doing NIL, it's actually a pro sport now. You know what I'm saying? You're giving out dollars and cents. So it's become a professional sport now. So they need to put the things in place that we see governing the other professional sports and try to find a way to get this thing fixed so it's not all willy-nilly. A lot of people will be wondering, why isn't the NCAA doing something? It's because they have no teeth. You know what I'm saying? They can't do anything. Their hands are tied. When they had the opportunity to jump out in front of this thing and get it right, they were greedy. They were more concerned about themselves and holding all the money that now they find themselves in this predicament. And they don't want to face more and more and more lawsuits because nobody wants to go to court and have to pay money. Even if you got long money, you ain't trying to give it away to protect the rest of it that you got. So I would like to see these commissioners and a committee of people get together because there's way too many people out here talking about what needs to be fixed. If you can figure out that there's a problem, you should be smart enough to figure out a solution. And you got three guys on this screen right now that see a whole lot of problems. And I'm quite sure all three of us can come up with a solution. And I'm quite sure they should be able to, if they get away from wanting what's best for their conference as opposed to they got to get away from wanting what's best for their conference and go towards what's best for collegiate sports.
That's the problem. Is fans, we know what we would want to see. Just like the playoff committee. We all can agree that the 12 best teams were not in that playoff. There was at least 2 teams that didn't need to be in there, period. We know what we could do to, I'm not going to say fix all the paying and all that stuff, but we know what we could do to fix these schedules, fix the playoff bracket, fix all this. But they don't want to hear that because these people are supposedly the smartest in the room with all the degrees and everything, but yet it's people like us who make the sport what it is.
Yeah. I agree. Anything else y'all want to add before we wrap up? We'll probably be back again tomorrow talking about the NFL action that we got on the slate and the implications that it has on the playoffs. Who might get the number 1 seed? Who might actually get into the playoffs because they got a division game that they got to play to seal the victory to get that to win that division. So we'll be back again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Is there anything else y'all want to add outside of what I just announced about tomorrow's show?
Not much. Just interested to see how this portal goes and where these players go. So be looking at that. Otherwise, great show, fellas.
Yeah, I know the kicker from Illinois is on his way to College Station. And I'm thinking that I should have booked a flight and kidnapped him and told him he has to stay there because we need any kind of kicker we can get. Other than that, I don't know what's going on up here. Our internet is so crazy around here, so I may wind up just having to redo my NASCAR podcast on my phone. I don't know. For some reason, my computer, my wife's computer, just they keep buffering and stuff. So, but my phone seems to be working fine. So, I'll get it done. Over the next couple of days, redo it, put it out there for everybody. So keep y'all's eyes open for that. Other than that, not real much to add. I mean, the portal, we'll keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on all of our channels. They're scrolling down at the bottom, guys and girls. Go like, subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications because with this portal stuff, we may be popping on for quick little emergency pods, just to, hey, so-and-so signed here, 5, 10, 15, 20-minute podcast real quick just to kind of give an update. So go like, subscribe, notify to all of them. There's good content on all of them.
That's for sure. Hey, real quick before we get out of here, one thing we didn't touch on, SEC Shine and myself touched on it a little bit, but Rob, who are some of the guys you want Texas to get out of the portal, if you can name a couple?
Well, I would like for them to get Cam Coleman, but just not at a $2 million price tag. I definitely think that they should get that running back out of Louisville. This guy, even though he's a smaller back, he's only like 5'9", maybe 185, 190 pounds, but the guy averages 8 yards a carry, bro, over 8 yards a carry, and he's a guy who's a home run hitter. He's a goal daddy, as my man Coach Shipley would say. He's a goal daddy. He's a guy that can, he can, and he's a physical runner. He can run in between the tackles, and if he gets a crease, he can go the distance. So he's one of them. I would like for them to get that defensive tackle out of Florida. uh, Woods. There's a couple of other guys that are out there. The kicker from Memphis, I would like for them to get him because we're going to need a kicker. They got 10 to 13 guys who are going to be making visits here soon. I think they're going to take upwards to 15 to 18 guys out of the portal. There's a linebacker. Oh man, I forget where he's from, but they're after because they need linebacker help. Um, they're going to try to find some defensive backs. There's not any defensive backs on my radar right now that I think that they're after, but I'm quite sure there's going to be some dudes in the portal that they're going to go for. They're just really right now, they're just waiting. So those 3 or 4 guys I named are guys that I know for sure that they're after, that they're working to try to get visits with. Then, of course, there's some 8 to 10 more guys that they're waiting to see if they're going to hit the portal. So they're trying to be patient right now. Like you said earlier, most of the teams are just getting guys to come to visit. Nobody's trying to sign on the dotted line. But we lost a defensive tackle, so of course we need to get a couple of more. Alex January decided he's going to stay. They're working out. They worked out his deal. Hero Canoe decided to stay. They worked out his deal. They're in the process of working out a deal for Ryan Wingo. They already did one for Mosley. So our wide receiver core pretty much is intact, except for we're losing Moore, and of course we're losing Parker Livingston.
So you think real quick, SEC is the do you think the linebacker, it's a foregone conclusion that the linebacker for Pitt is going to Ohio State, or is that a player Texas or A&M is looking at?
Texas is not looking at him.
A&M is,
I do
but
know that.
I don't think we're looking hard. I think we're kind of kicking the tires, but I think we pretty much know he's heading to Ohio State.
I believe Texas is looking at a linebacker from Florida as well.
I know. It sounds bad, but I guess we did a contract extension with Marcus Radcliffe, one of our safeties. And supposedly they're still working on deals with Torian York to return, linebacker.
Really?
And, yeah. And Chase Basantis, the left guard, to return. And I saw this morning that another Texas offensive lineman is entering the portal. I didn't catch his name, but I saw it pop up this morning. But yeah, they're trying to keep Torian York back for one more year. So we'll see. I don't know. I guess he needs to talk to some people and see what his draft stock looks like before he makes that decision. I really want Basantis to come back. He's going to be a monster. He'll probably be a top 10 pick if he comes back next year in 27's draft class. He'd probably be top 10 guard for sure.
Yeah, fellas. For me, it'd be interesting to see the transfer portal moves made by Michigan, the players they're able to get and retain, or the players they lose. But for Notre Dame, uh, I would just like to see them get defensive line help. I think that's the number one position they will be looking at in the portal. Losing Durham and a couple guys to the draft and a few other guys transferring out. They need to get beefy up front at that defensive tackle position and some depth along the defensive end position. Outside of that, I think they need a boundary receiver. Nick Marsh from Michigan State should be atop of their board. Uh, they definitely need a boundary guy to go with Love and or not Love, but Gray House and those other guys. So I think the main positions for Notre Dame would be defensive line and boundary wide receiver. Definitely can't go wrong getting a kicker.
Cool.
The do y'all have y'all's cornerbacks back next year, right? Post.
Yes, sir. We lost a little depth because of playing time. You know that's probably their most talented position. But other
Yeah.
than that, our main guys are back.
Yeah, I thought he was the true sophomore last year.
Who was that, Leonard?
I think so. Yeah. Your main shutdown corner.
Yeah, he's a true. Well, he'd be a junior this year, but yeah,
Yeah.
he's a true sophomore.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So he's there for one more year. So yeah. Yep, that's what I'm looking. Defensive line, defensive help, kicker, um, running back. I want a thumper at running back. I need somebody that can run between the tackles and wear out defenses like what Le'Veon Moss did until he got hurt. But other than that, I'm one of the few Aggie fans you'll see on message boards that I trust Elko's decisions, and so we'll see what he goes.
Yeah, y'all definitely in good hands with Big Mike Elko.
Yep.
Yeah, you're in good hands.
You better watch
All
the
right,
Ole Miss
Joe.
transfer portal too, by the way, because there's going to be a lot of dudes leaving there. And if you need an offensive lineman, all of them from LSU are in the portal.
Yeah. Well, y'all have a good one, man. I'll
Yep.
be in contact with both of you to do your season-ending report on your team. So I got all my questions ready for my man post game, but I'm working on yours, SEC Sean. So hopefully we can get it done between today, sometime later on today, if y'all have time,
Oh yeah,
or tomorrow.
for sure. I'm
Okay,
pretty
cool.
much available, this weekend, and then I'll let y'all know what's up when we go on live.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
for sure. Just hit me up, Rob.
Y'all probably heard
You
my
and
wife in the background. I said I'm available this weekend. She said, "No, you're not."
Don't get in trouble, man.
Man, I'm telling you, I live there.
He said I live there. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good rest of y'all's day. I'll be
Yeah.
in touch.
Y'all be good.
All right.
All right,
Peace.
peace, y'all.
Bye, peace.